So the semester is over, the students have obtained their marks, and in this video, we'll take a look at the mark distribution and see what we can observe. So I'll put the marks on that side and yeah, let's take a look. So the presentation is a stacked bar presentation where we have one bar, on top of another. On the bottom is the final exam marks, and on top of it is the carry marks, and in total the combination of the two marks is the final full marks that the student obtained, and this is plotted from the highest to the lowest of full marks. Now two lines are being drawn in this plot. One is and it is relative to the passing marks of each, right? So on the bottom here is the passing mark for the final exam. So for the final exam in this subject, the marks contributed by the final exam to the full mark is 50%, and it is compulsory to pass the final exam, meaning that you have to obtain 50% or above for the final exam. So in the total marks, so that relates to 25%. So that's the final exam passing marks, and then the full marks passing mark is 50% out of the total marks. So those are the two lines to indicate to make it easy to make the comparison. So in terms of the coloring, for the final exam we have two colors. One is a green color bar, where this indicates that the student actually passed the final exam, meaning that the final exam reached at least 50% of the final exam, or 25 marks out of the full marks. And the red bar represent the bar where the student actually failed the final exam. So the final exam marks is less than 50% of the final exam full marks. So yeah, let's take a look at the performance of the student. First is the excellent student that have basically they obtain 90% and above. So in this case, for this semester, only one student reached this level. And for this case, you can see that the final exam is high. So in this case, it's I think 90% above, and the carry mark is also above 90%. So in total, it is I think around 95 or 96%. So that is excellent. So only one student get a very excellent marks for this semester. Several students actually pass the subject, where the full marks reach or at least 50% of the full marks. Now this range at least is normally where the student just pass the final exam, and some basically the carry mark is okay, and the final exam is just passing, so they pass the subject. Now there are also students that basically totally fail the subject, as you can see on the far right. Some do not even have any marks in the final exam. I'm not sure, either they do not even attend, or they attend but they get 0. Some actually get very small final exam marks. So in this case, it is apparent that they do not even try in the final exam, because most of them have already very much lower marks for the carry marks. So perhaps they are in a situation where they see it as already a gone case and do not even put an attempt for the final exam, because the carry mark is also gone. So yeah, that's also a case here. Some students actually fail due to final exam. So case in point here, the carry mark, actually the bar, for some of them, or for most of them, it is actually passing the carry mark marks, meaning that for the carry mark is more than 50%, but because of the final exam, for in this case is much lower than the 50% mark. So yeah, it dragged down, and due to the policy as well, even if your full mark is more than 50%, but if you fail the final exam, you still fail the course. In this case, it only happened to one student here. As you can see, the carry mark is very high, but unfortunately I'm not sure what happened for the final exam. it totally, you know, bad the marks, and because of that this particular student failed the subject due to failing the final exam. That's very unfortunate, and it is very surprising actually, because if you see the carry mark, it's very high. So that's unfortunate, but the rest, because of the final exam is less than 50%, the full mark is also not reaching the 50%, so there's no issue there. But in this case, this become a specific case where the full mark is you know, more than the passing mark, but still, because of the policy where you have to pass the final exam to pass the subject, unfortunately this student did not pass the subject. Now, there are also students, this is quite rare, but it happened for one student, where the failure is due to the carry mark. So for example here, this one particular student, the full mark is not reaching 50%, so he or she failed. But the final exam, he or she actually get the passing mark for the final exam, meaning that the final exam it reach 50% mark. So you, based on that, you can pass the subject because you pass the final exam. But I'm not sure how come in this case the carry mark is actually low, that makes him or her, despite passing the final exam, the full mark is not reaching the passing marks. So those are the you know, performance of the students for this semester. So for this case on the far right here, I'm not sure how to help because some students seems to either have lack of motivation throughout the semester and it really affect the whole performance, or some student actually seems to have severe lack of you know, preparation for this course, meaning that even the basic mathematics tools, they have, you know, severe lack of you know, mastery on that affect the whole semester, because throughout the semester you already have to be able to, you know, use sine, cosine, tangent, resolve forces, etc., do integration. So those are mathematics that we have learned in the previous level of education. So at this level, the students are expected to just use those tools. So for those students that even that they still struggle with, so it will become very, very challenging to cope with subject like this in the university. That's quite unfortunate, so I'm not sure how to help this. And this case here also, it's quite sad because they fail due to the final exam. So I'm not sure what is the best way for me to help them to prepare for the final exam so that they can at least get the passing marks. And perhaps I have to interview this student and discuss with him how he thinks that we can help other students to also excel in the subject. Anyway, so that's for this video, as hopefully, you know, some inputs from the trend that I have hopefully have to keep in mind for the future, to plan for the next semester, to help the students to, you know, excel as well as at least pass the course. With that, inshallah, any feedback, any comments, any suggestion, I do appreciate it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.